welcome everyone to an online meeting of RBKC's Licensing Subcommittee, and thank you very much for attending. I'm Councillor Sof McVeigh and I'll be chairing this meeting. It's being held by Microsoft Teams and it's also being streamed live. The case before us today is to grant a licence for Manzara, 24 Pembridge Road, London W11. And the committee for this hearing comprises of Councillor Malcolm Spalding and Councillor Charles Williams and myself. If councillors, you'd like to introduce yourself, please, and also make any declarations of interest too. Thank you.
I'm Councillor Charles Williams, Councillor for Redcliffe Ward. I have no declarations of interest to make, except I do know Miss Everett, as she's former councillor, but I have not spoken to her about this case.
Thank you. Councillor Spalding. Maybe he's got trouble joining. Councillor Spalding?
He's muted.
Councillor Malcolm Spalding, Earls Court Ward. I have no declaration of interest, financial or otherwise, but like Councillor Williams, I am aware of Miss Everett, who was a former councillor and former mayor of the borough.
Thank you very much. I have no declarations of interest, though I do know this area. So before we do the introductions, normally we'd go through all the introductions now and do a quick process. But as a committee, we're concerned that the applicant is not here today. And this is a significant case, and we think all parties need to be able to question the applicant. We understand he has issues with IT, so we are proposing adjourning the case until he can be here in person or have help with his IT. The applicant needs to have a fair chance of a hearing, or it could be viewed that he has not been given a fair trial under Article 6 of the European Court of Human Rights. So under the circumstances, and in the committee's view, we think it's in the public interest to adjourn the hearing. But I would like to propose this, but also to ask other parties their views. So if I could first please bring in our legal advisor, Ms. Limazouria, please, for some comments on this proposed adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Under the Licensing Act 2003 hearing regulations, it's perfectly acceptable to adjourn a hearing where it is necessary in the public interest. Obviously, it's for the committee to decide, and you've outlined your reasons, and obviously you're going to take on board the other parties' views before you make an opinion. So an adjournment is possible under the hearing regs.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. So I'll just go through the list of everyone we have here. So if the police, do you want to make a comment on that? Ian Davis?
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, the police are quite happy to adjourn on the committee's direction. Thank you.
OK, thank you. And then we have responsible authorities. Philip Richardson.
Good morning, Chair. Yeah, I've got no objections to an adjournment, other than it will need to be somebody else from Noise and Nuisance who attends after today, because I'm going to be away from the office for quite a while.
Yes, and I hear it's for lovely, happy news. So good luck.
Thank you.
And objectors. So we have Joanna Everett.
Yes, that's fine. I mean, disappointing to only find out this morning.
Yes,
could I ask generally, how are we going to overcome this problem? Because I know when it was suggested that we contact the applicant, he then said, "Oh, you can come into our our shop," and we kind of get, "No, we're not. We're not allowed to under the regulations." So I genuinely am wondering when this is going to be adjourned to, in terms of moving forward, or what his proposal is.
Yes, I think those are very valid points, and I think the committee will go into a closed session and discuss this before we make a final decision. I think the first question about I think we still had to have the committee today before we could do an adjournment. I understand that we'd have to do it in public like this, but I'm sure Lindsay will correct me. And secondly, I agree with you about the date of the adjournment. We can't have this just going on and on and on. So I think we're going to really try to make all efforts to get a response from him.
Could I just say one other thing? You can dial in
Completely.
And I know you then have to have the Teams app, but I don't know if somebody could physically go and help him put the Teams app on, or if he could just physically be in the office with his, or outdoors somewhere with his legal representation, which he's clearly had. But yeah, and could we also have advance warning, because I know my colleague hasn't been able to attend today and has a problem on Thursday, so it would be helpful to have some, not to be told it's going to be next Thursday, for example.
Yes, understood. Yes, I understand, and I know licensing governance are on this call, and they will make a note of that. So completely understood, and I completely agree with you about the calling in. Thank you for that. Licensing, any views on this, please? Have we got Paul here? Yeah.
Hi, morning, Chair. No further comments from us. I'm happy to take the instructions from yourselves on this.
Okay, well, as it seems as if we all seem to be more or less in agreement, I don't think the committee needs to adjourn to a closed session. Would that be right, Lindsay?
That is correct, but it might be wise just to go into closed session just for 5 minutes, just to kind of make sure everything has been digested and a formal decision made, please. Okay,
and we have a proper procedure in place. Okay, so...
Sorry, could I just ask one other thing? I did send an email yesterday to governance as regards what the outdoor licence hours for the late night refreshments was sought, because there are about 3 or 4 different conflicting pieces in the pack, and it would be very helpful before the next hearing to have clarity on that, please.
Okay, I see Paul's put his hand up. So are you answering that, Paul?
Yeah, what I can do for Ms. Everett, if we speak after this meeting, I can clarify exactly what the application is, if that's okay with you.
Thank you, and I think it would be beneficial to clarify that for everybody.
I completely agree, and that was another reason also for adjournment as well. I just feel some of the information is missing, and so we can't actually get a full picture as a committee to make a decision on. So yes, please. So Paul, I assume if you go back to the applicant, if you could express those points to him as well.
Sure.
Thank you. Quite a lot of missing information. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to adjourn just for 5 minutes. So we'll reconvene. Oh, all my clocks are different. So it's 7 minutes past. We'll reconvene at 10:15, please. officially resuming this meeting, this hearing for the licensing subcommittee to grant a license for Manzara 24 Pembridge Road, W11, and the committee had adjourned into a private session, and we have decided to adjourn this hearing. And we would like to request, please, to licensing and licensing governance that the hearing is resumed again no later than the end of May, hopefully even early to mid-May, please. And we will endeavour to make sure all the parties have as much notice of this as possible, and definitely the legal 10 days notice, but hopefully more than that, if that is possible. So thank you all very much for attending, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.